the World Championship program, yet to be included in the Olympic Games, but it's getting more and more popular, Mike, and the quality of athletes is getting higher and higher and higher. And the Norwegians in particular have gone for Johannes Tingesbø. Hard not to select him, but his shooting is nowhere near as good as Ligrid's has been over recent weeks. And Tyrrell Eckhoff apparently, Mike, had the choice of whether she wanted to race.
Interesting. I didn't know that. It's, as you mentioned earlier, you know, a winning team, why change it? Roysland, I'm sure, will feel a little disappointed, but you can't leave Tyrrell Eckhoff out if she wants to do it when she's got 3 gold medals round her neck already from 4 races.
Yeah, I heard from the Norwegian commentators that Eckhoff had the choice, or whether she wanted to save herself for the relay and the mass start. She obviously chose to compete, wanting to do better than she did in Oberhof. The Russians were absolutely astonished that the athletes should be given the choice of whether they were going to race or not.
Yeah, of course, that's not in their thinking, is it? The big aspect of today's race, Patrick, of course, is for the first time, the women are going second leg. Therefore, they're doing the extra 1.5 after their last shoot to the finish. So it's an imbalance today for the women. They've got 7.5 kilometers in their part of the race. The men have only got 6 kilometers.
Yeah, and we saw it in the mixed relay, Mike, the women taking the final 2 legs. I'm all for alternating. I think it would be nice if, you know, say the men took the last leg of the mixed relay in the championships and then the women took the last leg of the single mix, and then that reversed, because it does put a whole lot more pressure onto those who take the last 2 legs.
It does. Look at Johannes Tingesbø. He was taking it kind of easy or within his limit. Now he's really punched hard, he knows that he needs space at the top of this rise. When Thomas went round with his camera, it was very slow. Today, it's very fast.
Yeah, that's a fair amount of damage that Johannes Tingesbø has done, but I suspect that with someone like Hoffer back in 3rd and his downhill skiing abilities, he'll close that gap fairly quickly. But it has thinned the field out dramatically, Mike, on this very first lap.
Isn't it interesting? They were all letting Johannes dictate, and it was quite slow there, up to 350, 400 meters, and I love the way he just broke free. It was like an absolute attacking sprint, and he's achieved what he wants. He's got space all around him.
Yeah, that reminded me of Martin Fourcade way back in Novo Miesto at the World Championships when he made a dramatic break just before the shoot. It did not go well for him on that occasion.
Let's hope Johannes can stabilise for 5 out of 5, ideally 1 spare at worst.
Well, he's made a habit of missing 2 in all the races, and 40 shots being fired in today's race, so it's the same as a mixed relay and the single-sex relays. Into lane 3 for Norway, France in 1, Sweden 2, Germany will be in 4, Belarus are in 5, lane 6 is Canada, and Italy with Lukas Hoffer in lane 7 with Simonada in 8.
From wind of 0, Patrick, the wind is now dead. It has changed.
First miss from Johannes Tingesbø, but remember, it's a relay and there are spare rounds. Italy with Hoffer go clear, and Austria, as you would expect with Simonada, 5 out of 5. He has been astonishing this season.
Yeah, quite amazing. He's only missed 2 shots from 60 fired, now from 65 fired at these championships. It's incredible shooting.
France and Sweden, Mike, a little bit of damage done to their prospects, and Johannes Tingesbø, he's done some harm to some big teams, but the Italians have got out with a 3.6 second lead. Austria in 3rd, a team that are on the podium more often than not, and then Latiapov, the RBU, incidentally, have gone for exactly the same team that represented them in the World Team Challenge in Ruhpolding at the New Year break.
Well, that was successful then. You can just see the smaller penalty loop in the background there. It's only 75 meters today, and that's the punishment should you miss with 3 spare rounds.
So Samuelsson having a few issues for Sweden. Well, there's nothing wrong with the 0 for Samuelsson. Johannes Tingesbo tucks in behind Lucas Hoffer, gets a free ride for the early part of lap number 2. And remember, after they complete the next shoot, which is in the stand position, it will be a very short loop. We've got a broken pole. That looks like Latyapov, who's struggling. Where are the supporters? There's got to be someone there. There you go. Good transition. Not too much time lost.
Yes, he did come out of the range 7.5 behind. He's still much the same, so yeah, not too much lost there, but it wasn't a quick exchange in terms of getting a spare ski pole.
Now, do you think Johannes Tinges will go for the same tactics, Mike? First half of the climb fairly steady, and then about here, he really put on the afterburners and spread the field out.
I thought he would. I thought he would try it a second time, and it's not often that we see the field so damaged, so broken up, and that was due to his incredible pace last time. If it weren't last time, I would try it again.
Yeah, but you haven't got to ski 2 more laps.
and incredibly, of course, they raced 20 kilometers yesterday, almost half a marathon, with just under 700 meters climb in the men's race there yesterday. Their legs are still tired. So coming into the range for the second time, stand this time, same again, 5 shots in the magazine, 3 spare rounds, should the targets not go down. First time of asking.
Yeah, Sweden and France, 2 of the favourites for medals here, still some way off the mark, but they've closed the gap, and Samuelsson and Gigan are both moving up through the order. But it's Italy and Norway out front. Now they go for the lane that corresponds with their entry into the range. So it's Johannes Tingesbo back in lane 1, which is where he does the majority of his shooting. Silver medal in Östersund for the Italians, with the same team that they have today. So, long delay for the first shot for Johannes Tingesbo, but he throws it wide, and a chance for Austria to get back in the order. Simoneda, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5, as you would expect. And Slovenia, oh, they had a chance to keep themselves in the running. 2 misses from Bö. Remember, 6 is about average. Most of the top teams missing 6 or less throughout the course of the race. Norway have the speed to maybe afford 7 or 8. But no more than that, certainly. So, Austria hand over to Hauser.
Yeah, look at Eric Lesser. That's a real pity for the German team. I think it's a penalty loop. It is. That's a real setback for the Germans.
Yeah, and Latyapov struggling as well, but he avoids the penalty. Belgium with 5 go down. Finland with a chance of going on the penalty loop, as do Bulgaria. But look at the times. 22 seconds now separating the top 13 teams. USA, I guess, will be pretty happy to be just outside the top 10 at the moment. But they'll certainly, overall, be looking for a top 5, I would have thought, with Doherty and Claire Egan. That would be an outstanding performance. So Austria lead, Italy in 2, Norway 3, Slovenia, Sweden 4 and 5. So the teams have gone through 3.8, and it's Italy who lead. Dorothea Viera upping the pace, going ahead of Lisa Theresa Hauser of Austria. Tillel Eckhoff was 4 behind. She's closed that to 1.5. Hannah Öberg closing the gap as well from 12 down to 9. And Julie Simon trying to make up for the time lost by Gigener on that first leg. So now, Mike, we have 5 brilliant teams in the first 5 positions. And really, it's just Germany and the RBU of the top-ranked teams who are missing.
Yes, that's a real shame for Preuss now. She's finding herself 30 seconds behind the lead time here. And just thinking of times, Patrick, the Eder came across the line there, Simon Eder in 7:41. I think the women, the best of the women will be about 9:05. Same 2 times into the range, the same track, 1.5 kilometre twice.
Now, I wonder what we're going to see from Dorothea Viera, capable of shooting 3 to 4 seconds quicker than anyone else. A little lead like that would be pretty handy, Mike. I hope we see her relaxed and shooting fast. Hauser takes more time to settle, but does the preparation on her knees. First shot down for Viera, and she works right to left. Norway missed the first, and that sort of tempts a miss out of Hauser, and Italy are going ahead. It's going well for them so far, but we still have some way to go. 8 shoots, remember, that's 3 completed, and a long reload from Hauser, and that allows Sweden, France, Ukraine to close the gap on the medal positions.
Strange, isn't it? Hauser used to shoot so fast when she couldn't ski quite as fast as the rest. Now she's up there in terms of ski speed, but she's really slowed her shooting time down.
Well, that was quite a handy little lead for Viera, and I think she'll work hard enough to make Eckhoff and Hannah Öberg work really hard to catch her before the next shoot. But with that long recovery into the range, Mike, I think you can almost afford to go 100% on the climb and know that your pulse rate will be down to a manageable level before the shoot.
It's so right. Your pulse is on maximum by the top of the big climb, and we see the track. It's not an easy descent because you really have to work around the corners, but the important aspect is you're getting your heartbeat down.
So almost 6-second lead for Austria. The Americans have done well at 11th up into 8th in that last shoot. Just thinking back, Mike, to that burst of speed we saw from Johannes Tingesbø on the first lap, I think that may be an adaptation because at the moment he's still faster than everyone else, but he's not fast enough to shake off the rest of the field if he just goes flat out. He has to put in a sprint to make the break, and once he's broken contact, then he can tend to capitalise on that. But we've seen in the mass starts and the pursuits that there are now so many athletes who can tuck in behind him and stay with him.
And this course, it does allow that to happen, but I think it's expensive to attack the second part, the steeper part of this climb at maximum sprint pace. It does have payback, and maybe that's he tried it a second time, Johannes, didn't quite have the same sting, but it's expensive. It does tire your legs out and build the lactic levels.
Now, just interested in your opinion on Hannah Öberg's poling. It's not quite an A-frame, but her hands much closer than the baskets, which cannot be as effective as having the hands directly in line with the bottom end of the pole.
Yes, hopefully we'll get a close-up. Again, she kind of drags herself, pulls herself through the ski poles. Most others are taking the wider shoulders or the wider elbows and bringing the hands closer to get more impact through the poles. But it certainly seems to work for Hannah Öberg. There she is, now in skate 1, so a definite lead side. Nice flowing, and I love the way she brings her left leg so far up into the hill.
Öberg, of course, medaling in the individual. Took the silver medal for Sweden. Through goes Kadurish for Switzerland, teamed up with Benny Vega today. Outside chance of a medal, I guess, for the Swiss if they can shoot brilliantly from here on in. Canada with Lunda and Gao.
It's a good team. America's still in their 8th position now, only 35 behind. The race is still wide open. Interesting. Tirolekov not wanting to, you would assume she's faster. She is every other day at the championships than Vera, but happily coming in second place.
Well, this is going to be a big moment. So Dorothea Vera on lane one. Tirolekov, I guess, trying to get as much recovery before this stand. She's either brilliant or appalling in the standing position. So mostly this season, she's been absolutely brilliant. Slight psychological advantage to the Norwegian, getting the target down first. Shot for shot between Norway and Italy. Italy clear the last and Eckhoff misses. So another 7-8 seconds thrown away, assuming she gets it down at the first time of asking. Long delay for Eckhoff. Now she's got to ski hard again. And it's Hannah Erberg who's losing time. Austria, Mike, their shooting has been absolutely outstanding so far. Only one miss in the race so far. So away goes Lucas Hofer.
Yeah, incredible shooting. And yeah, Italy again ahead, but France and Austria able to come through there with Eckhoff missing one target.
Yeah, good recovery from France, back up into the top three at the moment, and Norway 7.2 behind the leaders Italy. Sweden 13, Ukraine still, they have a chance. You haven't really mentioned the Ukrainian team. Artem Prima teamed up with Daria Blashko, Hannah Sola for Belarus. I was slightly surprised Hannah Sola didn't get a run, but the coaches know what they're doing. And of course, we still have 2 races to go. Canada in 8th, and some way to go between them and the podium places. This is the target of Dorothea Vera. All 5 going down at the first time of asking. Where did this last one go? Ooh, it was close, but it's down. Welcome back. We're through the second exchange. Italy leading. Just having a look at the shooting times, Mike. Vera pretty quick on the stand at 23.4, but Julia Simon of France 17.9, and consequently France moving up into 3rd place, having lost ground on the very first leg. So it's now up to Hofer and Giegena to shoot it out. Johannes Tingesbø moving up the order into 2nd again. He's not had a clean shoot so far. Now would be just the time to hit 5 with 5. It's not going to happen. Oh, This is disastrous for the defending champions. 2 misses, and Johannes takes a long time to prepare. 3 misses, chance of a penalty loop for the Norwegians. That will cheer the French and the Austrians on the far side of them. And it's France who go clear this time round. Another miss, only the 2nd miss so far for Austria. Sweden with 5 down. And Johannes taking his time. He still has 2 rounds and 2 targets to hit. And the gap is widening between Norway and the leaders.
Well, the Johannes, he attacked that 1.5 kilometre. He pulled back 7.8 seconds on Hofer, but he really has lost all of that, doubled it, tripled it, by having to use 3 spare rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the gap. It's likely to be close to 20 seconds for Norway. Ukraine have gone ahead of them. Hofer with only a slim margin over Gigenar, who did much better. Now, Johannes Tingesbø has to produce his best. 20.6 behind. He can close that over a 3K loop, over a 1.5. No chance, surely.
It's quite strange. He was hesitant there throughout the initial build-up and the first short release, and he's kind of lost his confidence there. It's going to be worrying for the stand.
Well, this is Gigenar, who has gone and put France up into 2nd position. So France are climbing the order with just about every shoot. I suspect that Gigenar will just tuck in behind Hofer. Seb Samuelsson, the quickest of the leading 4. The Austrians are still there with Simon Eder, only 6 seconds behind. Here comes Johannes Tingesbø. We'll get another reading on his position. He was 20.6 behind. Now, if the others don't keep the pressure on Mike, if Hofer doesn't push, Johannes Tingesbø could get to within 5 or 6 of the leaders.
Well, that would be superhuman, wouldn't it? But we know he provides superhuman so often in his career, Johannes. He was on the range for 52 seconds, Johannes Tingesbø, and you just can't afford that at this level. Hopefully he can get 5 out of 5 in his stand and bring Norway back in for Tirolekov.
Yeah, and George Buta of Bulgaria, from Romania, George Buta shooting in 22.1. So a 30-second difference. You just can't afford those sort of mistakes. I think Norway need to be clean, and Johannes Tingesbø has got to do something about the shooting, Mike. Otherwise, he's going to go away from here with only the 1 gold from that mixed relay to his name.
Well, it would be lovely to see him find his old routine where he just used to build that position, a little slowly building the position, then he'll just let rip, and the standing was so stable in the past. I'm sure he'll be going through that thought in his mind now. Just find your old position, let the shots take themselves. Don't have any tension in your body. Easy to say, difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the leading teams will get another readout on their positions fairly shortly as they come in. The women ready for the final leg of this relay. As soon as this shoot is completed, the athletes go straight to the exchange box, so no more opportunity for Johannes Tingesbø to make ground. He's 100 meters adrift at the moment. Norway certainly not out of it, but they're not making life easy for themselves. 8 misses already. Ukraine have missed just 1. The Austrians have missed 2. Hofer and Italy have missed 2 only so far. And Gigenar of France, they've missed 3. So, Team 7, that's the Italians. Shot 0 plus 10 in Oberhof earlier this season. Finished down in 7th. France go clear. This is looking very good, and the French were so disappointed not to get a medal in the mixed relay. It's looking good for them at the moment. Samuelsson needs to clear. 1 more miss from Johannes Tingesbø, but if he can get this one down, he might just close the gap to within 15 seconds. No, I think that's not likely. Away go France, back to the front, having been down in 9th position on the first leg, and they've got a 4.9 second lead over the Italians. Then come the Swedes, and Hanna Öberg, the woman, the individual, not the individual champion, but the individual silver medalist. But my goodness, she's shown herself to be an absolute star when it comes to the longest race for the women.
Well, Johannes got it back to 16.3 seconds, and he really did go for the attack in terms of shooting, using one spare round, cost him a further 6 seconds, though.
I think it's safe to say no medals for the host nation. Slovenia with Jakub Faker in trouble. Germany had a disastrous leg with Preuss on the last leg.
Jakub Faker on the penalty loop, unexpected. He looked very tense, he looked fearful of that last shot.
The day off seems to have helped Giegana, Mike. Best shooting we've seen from him this year.
Just easy, relaxed, letting it flow. Wonderful shooting from Giegana.
So, good advantage for France with Julie Simon, Dorothea Viera trying to close it down. Now, Simon is the quickest on the tracks and Viera is the quickest in the range. That is a classic biathlon battle. And Hannah Erberg behind them is steady in both. So we've got every combination you could possibly want. Here comes Tyrrell Eckhoff. The gap is already closing, Mike. But when you play the chasing game, you risk missing targets. And that's what Norway have done all the way through this race.
Very much, and Tyrrell Eckhoff, she's when she skis, you often get this high tempo, this sharp, aggressive attacking. I'm not really seeing that today. She did say on day one after her race that her legs felt very wooden, but then she went on to win a further 2 gold medals.
As you do, and also with Erberg, Mike, in the pursuit, she said her body didn't feel as though it belonged to her anymore. Comes out in the individual and gets a silver medal, skiing as fast as anyone. I think she actually had the fastest track time, so she was back to the form we saw from her early season. The gap is getting narrower. The Norwegians were 16.5 behind at the exchange. They've taken 2 seconds out of that. That could be important, but what do you think, Mike? The team that win this have got to hit the next 10 targets.
I think so, and significantly, we mentioned it earlier, for the first time at World Championships, the women taking the anchor leg, so they will be skiing 3 times this lap now, this lap of 1.5. That is significant for tired legs last time round.
Yeah, and it suits certainly France because Julia Simon is quick. Eckhoff won't be fussed about skiing an extra 1.5 kilometers. And Hauser, she's pretty good, but so is Erberg. So we've got so many teams. Really, we have 6 teams contending for the gold medal here in the single mixed relay. Just the sort of drama we want at this stage of the World Championships. There's Hannah Erberg, followed by Tyrrell Eckhoff. How the Swedes love to beat the Norwegians. At the moment, they have a lead of some 15-20 metres. Here we go. France in lane 1. Italy with Dorothea Viera in 2. Keep an eye on her targets. They could go down in rapid succession. And then Hannah Erberg will be 3. Eckhoff 4. Blaschko will be in 5 with Austria's Lisa Theresa Hauser in lane 6. Oh, that last one going wide from Julia Simon, and it gives Italy a chance to get back in the lead. I think they've had the lead on every leg so far. Sweden with Hannah Erberg, 2 misses. That could count them out of the gold medal. Tyrrell Eckhoff at last has got her eye in. 5 with 5, and 1 more shoot remaining. But a poor performance from Hannah Erberg. Seb Samuelsson will not like to have seen that with those 2 yellow flashes. And the Austrians keep themselves in the money with another good shoot. But it's Italy who lead on the penultimate lap. 1 shoot in the standing position remaining, and the gap was 16 seconds back to Norway, cut now to 9.3. They are getting closer and closer.
Well, that's interesting. Wasn't it great to see Dorothea Viera? She is the master of calm and in the tension that is a World Championships. She didn't even look too phased coming in. She didn't care. She just let the shots go, and back to the front again for her.
Well, it's not often we get to this stage of the relay, or any relay, without mentioning Germany. At the moment, they're down in 8th place, over a minute behind, and a tough job for Preuss to try and close that gap. Dorothea Viera looks to me to be very, very comfortable with this situation. The Italians have often done well in this race. finished 6th in the mixed relay, but they're a smaller squad. They have less talent than others, but they do have Vera, who is excellent, and Hoffer, who's absolutely brilliant when he's on form, and he seems to have been on form today.
Very much. Tyrrell Eckhoff, I love that. She's got very good skis, I would say, holding the tuck as long as she can down this gradual descent. Now it's all about climbing with, what, just 30 minutes on the clock.
If they all come out of the last shoot together, Mike, who's your money going to be on that last lap?
Yeah, I would go for Tyrrell Eckhoff every time. Simon is good. Julie Simon there in 2nd place for France, but I think Tyrrell Eckhoff, she's just the ultimate attack machine when it's needed most.
Okay, and the other question is, should Vera come out first by shooting faster than everyone else? How much time can Simon and Eckhoff and Öberg afford to give away?
I think they can only give. I was just thinking about that because this is the working part of the race. You've only got 800-900 meters of hard work, and then it's very difficult to get away. So I think they can only, Vera could only have an 8-second max lead going out onto the final lap, should that be the scenario.
Lisa Theresa Hauser, the quickest in the last shoot with a 24-second shoot. Eckhoff was 25. Vera actually 27.8, so she was holding back a little. And now just taking it steady at the top of the climb. Simon gets closer, but so does Eckhoff.
Well, Eckhoff, it's not a huge amount closer. It was 9.3. It's only 9 this time around. I thought she'd have that close to about 5. So she's leaving it late.
And Hauser, after the shoot, was at 18.9. So now it's all about filling the lungs, preparing the mind, and somehow, Mike, you've got to pretend you're just doing a training run.
Oh, so difficult, isn't it? A World Championships, a gold medal at stake between Italy and France just in behind. Simon cornering much better, aggressively attacking all the corners. So she wants to lead in. There's Tyrrell Eckhoff just round the corner.
I think that's an indication that either Simon's feeling great or Vera's legs are feeling a bit tired, because you would have expected Vera to be able to cope with that corner. Here comes Eckhoff. Looks to have closed it to less than 9 seconds. Öberg almost relying on the others, making mistakes at this stage.
Very much, and it's still very close. Ukraine only 16 behind, Hauser, Austria 16-7, Öberg 17, so it's still very close for the medals.
An average time for a reloaded round is about 7.5 seconds. So at the moment, Vera and Simon of Italy and France are pretty much even Stevens. Eckhoff, one reloaded round behind them. Vera, 3 out of 3. This could be Italy's first gold of these championships. If she gets 5, she just delays on the last one and throws it wide. A chance now for Eckhoff to come back into it. Having shot badly in the early stages, down they go. And Norway and France are up against each other. Julia Simon, I think, will relish this, because when it's been head-to-head, the French have generally done better than the Norwegians on the last lap of a race. And Hannah Öberg, Mike, gaining time. Vera so close. The first 4 fell, and then 3 shots on that final target and on the penalty loop. Italy's chances of a medal have gone.
I really feel for Vera. She did everything so right until the very last shot. 3 spare chances. She went into panic for the first time, and she'll turn right now onto that 75-meter penalty loop. What a pity.
Desperately sad news for the Italians, and Lukas Hoffer will be burying his heads in his gloves. Blaszko of Ukraine comes out 15.7, so Blaszko with a chance to take on Hannah Öberg for the bronze. Eckhoff and Simon will fight it out for gold and silver here in Pokljuka. The single mixed relay has produced another dramatic race, only the 3rd time it's been in the World Championship programme. Have a look at these targets, so many of them in the prone, and then the last one thrown wide. High right, just right.
Well,
so
Vera Patrick, for that
Mike.
Final shot, she just held her breath, and then thought, I'm going to get it, and then it just snatched top right.
Yeah, 48.6 for Vera. Normally, she's less than half that. Now, Mike, one thing we've established last few seasons, last few majors, the French have always managed to outski the Norwegians, and tactically they're much better. I don't know whether they all do a lot of cycle racing, but Norway can't seem to help themselves, particularly Johannes Tingis and Tyrrell. They like to lead.
Yeah, very much, but we've often said Tyrrell Ekov is the best at tight corners, and she said last year, I love this course, but we've just witnessed Julie Simon being one of the best when it came to those lefts and rights, tight turns. So Simon, I think, will be feeling pretty good that she can pull time back on the tight curves coming in towards the finish line.
Yeah, maybe Ekhoff feels her only chance is the big climb, so have a look at the body language. Hannah Öberg looks to be getting a little bit closer, but she was 12.7 behind. Blasco, no real danger to the Swedes, so maybe we've seen the medals. Here goes Tyrrell Ekhoff, little burst of speed. Julia Simon goes as well, and that's a really determined break from Julia Simon. These two are not waiting for the last 100 metres. They're going for the top of the climb, assuming that if they're clear, they're going to take the win, but neither of them are going to get away. Wow.
Well, Simon, yes, Simon laying all her cards on the table there, 3/4 of the way up the climb, putting everything into her ski pace, but Ekhoff will not let go.
France won the last time they had a single mixed relay here. That was a team, Emilia Jacquelin with Anaïs Bescon, and they've got a 6-7 meter lead. The speed's high on the downhill. Who's got the best skis on at the moment? Julie Simon, Mike. Her downhill technique and her cornering technique has been sensational so far. Down they come towards the stadium.
Yes, a great line in and out of each of the bends. I think she's got this. Tyrrell Ekhoff really needs to dig deep now.
Yeah, I think France are going to do what they did in Oberhof. Julia Simon took the first and third leg on that occasion, but today she has outskied Norway. France are closing the gap at the top of the medal table, and they now have a chance of finishing these championships as the number one. Simon and Gigenar take the gold here in Pokljuka, and Johannes Tingesbo and Tyrrell Ekhoff, the two number ones in the world, could do nothing about it. Brilliant tactics. Johannes Tingis generous with his applause. Really, Mike, it was his doing. He missed too many targets. Oh, he missed a huge amount. Tyrrell Ekhoff had a magnificent time into the range, and she was under a lot of pressure. Good to see Sweden hanging on for third there. But Tyrrell was under so much pressure on the range, having attacked each of the first two laps. And I thought that was great of Johannes Tingesbo giving the congratulations there straight away. So yet another medal for Hannah Öberg. Remember, she took the bronze in the mixed relay. She took the silver in the individual. She's got another bronze today, but there you go, medal winning team. Gigenar rested yesterday for good reason, and Julia Simon looks so fresh. That was a wonderful performance from her. France very deserving of the gold medal. 36:42 the winning time. The Austrians for once not on the podium, 103 behind. A penalty loop actually for the Austrians. Germany did a penalty loop, as did Switzerland. Estonia did one, and far too many misses on a day where the conditions actually have been very kind. But Norway, Mike, 4 misses more than the French. That's a substantial amount of time, especially when you remember that Johannes Tingis took 52 seconds on one of his shoots.
I'm so pleased to see Johannes smiling. You have to let it go. You have to not worry too much about the outcome. You do your best, and you can't dwell on it too long, and Johannes is very good at putting it behind him.
Well, nothing he can do about it now, but he'll be hoping he can make up for it. Estonia delighted to get a top 10. That's a good result from them, but 156 behind. Norway started the day on 4 gold and 3 bronze. The French were on 1, 2 and 2, so they go up to 2 of each coloured medal, taking their tally to 6 medals. The Norwegians with 7 medals, and Sweden adding a bronze to the 4 medals they've won already. 1, 2 and 2 their score at the moment. So Norway in the driving seat, but the French, if they win 3, or if they win 2 of the next 4 races, who knows, they might be able to catch the Norwegians.
And Tirolekov now, that's 3 gold, 1 silver and a 23rd position. That was in the individual. I was really surprised, Patrick. Lisa Teresa Hauser went for broke. She shot really fast, but it cost her a penalty loop. And on the other hand, Italy went quite carefully, but a penalty loop as well in the final stand.
But you know why she did that? Because she did exactly the same in the mixed relay, and it won her a silver medal.
She took the risk. Sometimes you take the risk, it pays off. Sometimes it's just too much when your body is so tired.
And that early break from Johannes Tingis, do you think that had anything to do with their demise?
You know what, it could be a factor. The 20Ks yesterday, Johannes attacked, as all biathletes do, but I think fatigue is playing a part.
Tactically, the French are much, much more astute than the Norwegians. Maybe they're used to coming from behind and the Norwegians aren't. But a brilliant, brilliant last lap from Julie Simon, bold enough to take on Eckhoff at the top of the climb.
And I think that Simon knew that her downhill skis were brilliant. She gauged herself against Dorothea Vera, who's a great alpine skier. And Simon realized, right, this is my chance. Put everything on the table. And I think she caught Tirolekov by surprise.
And so once again, Norway and France proving themselves to be the top 2 nations in world biathlon. Sweden are a close third, but the Germans nowhere to be seen today. Very, very disappointing for the combination of Lesser and Preutz.
Just looking at shooting scores, the Canadian team finishing 8th. That's a wonderful performance. Second best on the range. Only